So, Presence is a 2025/2024 horror movie about a ghost and a family drama at the same time. It's really not a horror movie. This film is something else entirely. I don't really know how to properly feel about it still because I didn't really enjoy it. I've seen loads of people raving about the movie, saying how cool it is. I've seen loads of people completely hating on the movie, saying that it was terrible. It's not a horror movie. This is just a family drama movie with just some gimmick. I'm leaning towards the other side, not really the love side, because I don't really understand where they're coming from with all the love for it. Of course, the gimmick and everything with this movie is really cool, you know. It's from a ghost perspective. And I remember when I went to watch Nosferatu, I was sat in the cinema, the trailer for this played. It looked really cool and interesting. It didn't really show a lot of the plot, which, makes a lot of sense because there basically is, like, just a family drama plot here. There's a bunch of plot points that are, like, all together that some don't even get answered, and it feels kind of like a mess. I'm going to go a bit more in depth on it later in the video, but for now, let's just get to my non-spoilery section of it, just because I want to, talk about the movie non-spoiler for those who haven't watched it yet, because it only came out, I think, Friday, so let's get into it. So, yeah, as I was saying in the intro, this movie is really interesting because the whole thing about it, and the only reason I knew about it was literally just the gimmick of the movie. The story definitely just takes a back burner while you're just basically like in this ghost or spirits or presences POV going around this house watching this family basically fall apart. Which, there are some moments where I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna get to the horror now. No. Nope. This movie pulls like a Megan is Missing, where it saves the horror right until the end, but where that movie also wasn't really a horror movie to me, and it was much more just like a weird exploitation slash warning flick where it was trying to tell you not to do this certain thing. This feels more like they just tried to wait until the very end to add some horror in. But the actual horror bit, which I found, wasn't even really horror as what you'd expect. It's more just horrific because it's just someone trying to SA someone. And that at that point in the movie, I was just like, all right, this isn't the direction I expected this to go. Once again, drawing comparisons to Megan is Missing. That's like the thing that I can compare this best to currently, because I feel like similarly with both of them. Kind of boring for like most of the movie. Last 10 minutes, it's just something horrible. Thankfully, with this one, we do get a sort of good resolution, and the brother is able to, come in and save her. But I just felt it was just a bit random. And I mean, the cast that here, they did a good job. I felt the dad, the person who plays the dad, he did a good job trying to play this kind of character where he's questioning everything pretty much. He's questioning every single aspect of his life. His wife's off doing her own thing. His daughter's an emotional wreck because her friend recently died, and then his son's just a dick. Yeah, it's definitely a weird movie, I will say that. Now, going to some of the more spoilery aspects, because I did sort of go into it in the bit which I was going to try and do non-spoiler, so that kind of failed. I was really going into this trying to just have a non-biased, clear perspective. I'm not going to hate on a film that I haven't watched yet, like some people do with the new Superman movie. Yes, that's shade. I was going into this open-minded, it could be really cool. I've seen some good reviews amongst all the reviews basically saying it's bad or just boring. And I myself, I don't really find it being bad. I just find it being really boring. And I got like a comment in my live stream when I was streaming the other night talking about how this is like 25% of this movie is literally just like a black screen, and I was like, that must be a joke or something. That must be a lie. You know, maybe they aren't really telling me the truth there. They were sort of telling me the truth, and they were sort of not. Because I'd say about 5 to 10% of this movie is a black screen. Because for some reason, the cuts they just like instead of just cutting to the next scene, they had like just a black screen. I don't know why. That's sort of like a weird stylistic choice there, but you know, to each their own. Maybe the director wanted it in there. Not gonna hate on the black screen in the movie, you know. But I don't know. I just found this movie really interesting and really weird. Like, as I was saying, the cast do deliver solid performances, but there are just some plot lines that go absolutely bloody nowhere, and then it just ends up with me questioning everything. And the main thing which I really wanted from this movie was something really different. But this just feels like your average, like, haunting movie, but not in like the Conjuring or Insidious era kind of thing. It feels more like a Blair Witchy paranormal activity kind of thing, where it's literally just like camera, people walk around, that's your movie. And you know, similarly to those movies, the horror in this movie is really just another person, I guess. The horror in this movie is a guy with a shaky camera, like following them about. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some aspects that I enjoyed, you know, the long shots and the one takes were sick. I love a good one take in a movie. Like there was this really cool one nearer to the end where it goes downstairs, the brother's waking up and he goes upstairs and then the thing with the blonde guy happens. And speaking of the blonde guy, that was another comment that I got because I had some bit spoiled for me. One of the comments was like, "You're gonna hate the blonde guy," and I was like, "Well, I mean, you know, maybe I won't." And then like they said the reason, I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to despise him." And yeah, I mean, I do hate him, and he got what he deserved at the end there. But the thing is, I was like kind of questioning whether the brother even died at the end because he jumped out the window on top of him. Unless they did a little roly poly in the air, surely he would have just landed on top of like the guy, and then he would have lived, or maybe broken a few bones. It doesn't even look that high, all right. So it just confused me. But yeah, then you know, film ends with the mum looking into the mirror, and then the brother's there, and then she's, I thought that was a weird ending for sure. I mean, we don't really. Did they ever say who the other ghost, the actual ghost that was the presence, was? Was it her friend? I can't even remember. Like, I literally watched this today, and I don't even remember. It's just really, really weird. I wish I did remember though, because that's gonna annoy me now because I won't remember it. If I remember it, or after this, I'm probably just gonna Google it and then I'll add it in, you know, while once I'm editing the video. But could someone let me know in the comments now, like who was the actual presence? Was it just her friend who died recently? I don't know, but yeah, ultimately, I give this movie like a 4 out of 10. It's really not the best. I'm not surprised at all that it was like a January release. You know, sometimes they surprise us, but this just didn't. And for a movie with a really interesting premise, it just fell really flat for me. And yeah, that's pretty much the video. Thank you all for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you liked, why not subscribe and like the video. But until next time, I'm probably going to go watch another new movie, or I'm going to go do something else horror related for the channel. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.